All right, so today is Wednesday, and I am in a couple positions right now. I have been looking for trades all week, and yesterday I took these trades. I was finally able to get some setups that I was able to lock in and actually get some follow through on. So I want to go over these trade setups and basically show how I got into them, what my plan was originally, and how things are developing and how my plans are changing. So yeah, as you can see, I'm in two long trades, one short trade. I'm in a Bitcoin long and a long on this altcoin, and I shorted this altcoin. So we'll start with the altcoins. So CHR. Again, I just went over to MEXC and I looked for the altcoins with the highest volume. This was one of them. And basically, when I'm looking at these altcoins, the first thing I'm looking at is structure. So, on a high time frame, on a 4 hour, we did have a 4 hour bullish break right here, or at least it appears, because I did draw in a lower high and a lower low right there. So let's just make sure that that wick took out the low, and it did, just barely. So we had a 4 hour bullish flip here. And when I was looking at it, we had already gotten this pump up, so market structure continued. We had higher high, higher low, higher high. So right now the 4 hour is in an uptrend with the higher low being right here, at least based on this primary pull that I did. So 4 hour primary higher low right here. Now I also was paying attention to the internal structure from that market structure point, and there is some 4 hour internal structure there. I'm not going to mark it all out, but we pretty much had high, low, and then high. So we also have an internal market structure point right here, which I would like for us to hold. If you want a strong uptrend, then it's better that you hold the internal structure as well as the primary structure. But technically, price can retrace all the way down to this area, even SFP the low, and still maintain this uptrend. So I did kind of mess up here. Calling this internal structure is actually wrong because this is technically 4 hour primary structure. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I was looking at this as if we hadn't taken out this high before putting in this low. But to clarify, the same idea still stands. We still can technically retrace all the way back down to here and maintain an uptrend, but we would be breaking the 4 hour primary structure, but we still could maintain the daily primary structure, which is what I called the 4 hour primary structure, is actually daily primary structure. Same idea with, what I was saying. It's just to hold 4 hour primary structure, we actually don't want to close down below this low. But if we do, we still can technically hold the daily primary structure, since this line right here is not a market structure point on the daily, and probably on the 12 hour as well. So just wanted to clarify that. So I was looking for longs on this asset. Now when I go down to the 1 hour, things are a little different because, primary structure on the 1 hour has actually flipped bearish right here, because we had higher high, higher low, higher high. So we have broken that last higher low right here, got a bearish flip, and this structure has actually flipped back to bullish now. So we had a little downtrend, and on the 1 hour, I would call this a swing in structure. We had a swing up, swing down. So this is the lower high in the 1 hour structure, and we broke that bullishly. Then after putting in this higher high, price came down to take out the low again, and actually on the 1 hour closed below it. It also closed on the 2 and the 3 hour, but on the 4 hour it was a wick. So I want to look at the structure on the 4 hour now. What does the internal structure from this high look like on the 4 hour? Well, it is one move to the downside to get to here, and then a lower high and now a lower low, with that lower low being an SFP of the last market structure point. So 4 hour structure looks very different, and technically it's still in a downtrend because we have not closed above the last lower high, but we do have a bullish development here with this SFP. So you can, in a sense, look at this SFP as causing this structure to be bullish. Now it's not in an uptrend, but you can still call it bullish because, based on this SFP, you would expect to move up to the opposite market structure point, maybe to close above it, or maybe it SFPs it. And if it SFPs it, then you can consider structure to be back to bearish. So all things considered, I was looking for longs here since we got the 4-hour SFP. And even though the 1 hour technically closed below the last lower low, we just flipped structure bullish and then we come back down to close below here. Not exactly a super bullish thing, but price did flip internal structure back to bullish. We flipped the structure from the high back to bullish when we broke this last lower high right here. And so I just entered on this break. It started out as a scalp play. I was just targeting basically somewhere up around these highs. Since we got the 4-hour SFP, then this is a logical target. And I do already have this trade locked in. I have basically a break even insured with this one right now. Actually, I think a small profit because I do have my stop loss above my entry right now. So I have 28 cents locked in, plus this might lock in another 10 cents. And the reason for my stop loss being here is because I'm following the internal structure. So, in order to get to my stop loss, price has to flip the internal structure back to bearish. And my exchange is being very slow, so we'll look at it on TradingView. But my stop loss is somewhere around here. In order to get to there, price has to flip this internal structure back to bearish. We have to lose this last higher low, and I have my stop loss a little bit below that just in case we SFP it. We get a really big wick, but it still closes above it. That can happen. So that's my position right now. And my, longer term plans for this, if I stay in this position, is that, I may be looking to hold this for a swing trade, maybe back up to this high, because there's a chance this ends up being a 4-hour higher low. And I think that closing now above this 4-hour internal lower high would be a good sign to say that, we're probably coming up to this point. I think if we, flip the structure on the 4-hour from this high back to bullish, there's a good chance that the higher low is in. So now I'm waiting to see if we're going to close above this high, if we're going to wick it. If we wick it, I'll take some more profits and probably, maybe I'll leave my stop loss where it is. Maybe I'll move it up to follow market structure. We'll see. But definitely if we close significant candles up above this high, then I'd be looking to hold this long for higher. And I am in a short on this altcoin. And I can run through, again, the market structure I was looking at here. So this asset was in a 4-hour uptrend, and recently it put in this higher low before a higher high, and then a break in structure on the 4-hour. We closed candles below this last higher low. Pretty weak break, honestly. We only got a few candles below that low before we pumped back up. We didn't see too aggressive of a move down once we broke structure, but it is a 4-hour break nonetheless. So I was looking at potentially entering a short if we got a retrace into a significant area and broke structure. So I did have a different supply zone marked out originally. I think I was looking at this little area right here, this range that we formed, but price got to move through that. And once we did that, I was looking higher for potentially some more supply. So I think I was looking at this 1-hour candle, and I took the supply zone up to that wick. And basically I was considering that my new supply. So price did get a move up into this supply. And from there, following the internal structure from the low, we did get an SFP of a market structure point when we came up to wick this high right here. And so that is bearish sign number 1. Like I said, an SFP can kind of make you consider market structure to be bearish, at least until you prove that the SFP is not going to work out, whether that's, price coming up to close above those wicks, or whether it's price coming down to SFP, the opposite market structure point, which we actually did here. But from this SFP, I started looking for shorts because we're kind of slowing down. You can see price slowing down as it enters supply, curling over, not showing much strength. Then we SFP a market structure point, and then price breaks internal structure bearishly. So that was my entry signal. I did not short the SFP right away. I waited until we saw an internal market structure break, which, if I zoom in here, we got this higher low before this last higher high. We got another wick to the upside. So that was my market structure point I was watching to break. And once we broke that, we pretty much immediately got a move down to my TP1. And my TP1 was the opposite market structure point in the larger structure. So that was my first, logical TP. And we did have a little false break-in structure there. That was another trade setup I was looking for. And if we got an internal structure break before we got up to this high, like if we didn't SFP it, let's say this structure broke, I would have shorted this because we did technically already get a market structure break here, even though it was low time frame. So that was originally my idea, but coming up to SFP that high again was actually more of a bearish sign, so I think that helped my short, the fact that we came up for this high once more. And again, the reason I'm looking for shorts up in this area is because there's a chance that this zone up here ends up becoming a higher time frame lower high. We did get a high time frame break in structure right here, so there's a chance that this ends up being a lower high before a lower low. And there is a chance that if we see this, that this asset retraces a lot because it has been on a very aggressive move to the upside for a while here. I think there's lots of liquidity below, lots of reason to come down. So that is, ultimately the reason I was looking for shorts here. And if this trade that I'm in right now gets stopped out, I may look for another short if an opportunity is presented. So yeah, with this one, I already got a little bit of profits locked in, and I believe I have my stop loss at entry, but I should check that. My computer has been very slow recently whenever I'm recording. It's slow to begin with, but recording just makes it all that much slower. But yeah, right now my stop loss, I moved it towards my entry, but not at my entry. So if I get stopped out, I will have lost 20 cents, and that is minus the 17 cents that I already have locked in profit. So essentially secured a break even with this one already. And the next thing I'm looking for this short would be to actually break this higher time frame structure. We have right now SFP'd it, like I said, which is a bearish or a bullish thing. Bearish for my position, I suppose, but it is a bullish sign. It goes against my position. This could kind of in a way make you consider market structure to be bullish right now, so not what I want to see. But some important levels that I would like to see us close below, number one would be this wick now, because we do have this market structure on a higher time frame, which technically now is extended down to this wick. So this point is now this point, and on a higher time frame, you would probably just call this structure where you have higher high, higher low, and then higher high. So I would also want to see a close down below this low in order for me to, I guess, be more comfortable holding this as a swing position. If I see more things that are going to go against my long, like, if we maybe come down to wick this low once more, I'll probably take profits there and then put my stop loss at entry, which would be like right above this high right now. And now finally my Bitcoin long. What do we have here with Bitcoin? Well, with Bitcoin, we know on a higher time frame we're ranging, and recently we have been getting some better price action with the local or the internal structure. The internal structure has been playing out very well. This bullish break right here gave a very aggressive move to the upside, and it's been a pretty sturdy uptrend, I guess you can say. It has some strength to it. And right now, the 30-minute structure from this low looks like this. We have high, low, and then high. So I would consider this a 30-minute high or low. The reason I was looking for a long in this area is because this could become a 30-minute high or low. I'm looking to continue the structure here, so potentially we have a higher low before another higher high. So the way I entered this was we got a low time frame bullish market structure break right here. This was a lower high because we came down to take out this low. So we had some structure here, broke bullishly, and then we got a retest into demand. So once we got that move into demand, I looked at the internal structure that we formed to get down there, and I waited for that to break bullishly. So I entered on the break, invalidation down below this low. We did not get great follow through right away. In fact, I went to bed once I entered this, so I went to bed as price was dumping down. I was thinking, okay, maybe I'm going to get stopped out with this one, but the structure held, and we continued an uptrend here. So this turned out to be a pretty good position so far. Now, the things I'm looking for to manage this trade, well, number one, if I'm looking for a higher low to be put in right here, then I want to look at the higher time frames and look at the most significant structure that we have from this high. So from this high, we have, well, not that. That's not what I wanted to do. We have low, lower high, lower low. So in order to reach this point, I'd say we have to close a high time frame candle above this point. So that was the next thing I'm looking for in this trade. Now, have we done that? Have we closed a 30-minute candle above this high? No, we have not. And I mean, we have, but we have not broken structure. So originally, we had a wick here. That was an SFP. Now, as you know, once we SFP it, the break of structure line becomes the wick of the SFP. So now the break of structure line moves up slightly. What happens? We get another wick. So we have another break in structure line. What happens again? We wick that. Now we have another break in structure line. What happens again? We wick that. So we have not gotten a 30-minute close above what I would consider to be the break in structure line. Meaning, so far we have only SFP'd this lower high. So now, here's what I'm looking at with this. If we're able to close a 30-minute candle up above this point, I think we're coming for this point. If we now flip structure bearish, and I would probably be looking at 30-minute structure for this. So if we flip 30-minute structure from this low back to bearish, and the 30-minute structure I would say looks like this, where the last higher low was right here. So if we lose that with a close, then there's a good chance that we go much lower, which is why I have this little note over here, short, once this local uptrend flips bearish. So if this breaks right here, I will probably close my long. I'll close it at a little bit more of a profit. Right now I have a good amount of profits locked in with this long. I got $1.46, so about 1.5% of my account. And yeah, if we close below this point, I will close my long and start looking for shorts. Now, I'm not going to enter right on the break because, as you can see, that would not give good risk reward, at least not for the first target. We could potentially go much lower with this, but if I'm going to be entering this, I want to get a better risk reward on it. So what I would look for would be a refined entry where hopefully we leave some sort of supply up in this area, and I can move this box out of the way actually so we can see better. But if we break this low, then I would be looking for a retracement, ideally into some supply before a lower low. And hopefully we have some structure on this move to the upside that we can break bearish, and maybe that gives us a much better risk reward than just entering on the break. So that is my plans with Bitcoin, my plans for a short trade if we get this break in structure, or my plans to hold my long if we break above this point. In which case, I'd probably TP up at this high unless we get a really aggressive move through it. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, and I will see you all in the next video.